we were talking about how like really good cyclists actually sometimes they're very, I don't know how to phrase this. They might not be the best at like understanding the mentality of the normal rider because they're so good. But Lance Armstrong once told me, he's like, when your countryman starts doing well, you start doing well because you see that guy doing well and you want to be better. And it's like, well, I think if you're not as talented, actually it's more complicated than that. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Move Plus. I'm Spencer Martin. I'm here with Johan Bruyneel. We are breaking down stage 13 of the Giro d'Italia, and then we'll get Johan's take on who's going to win tomorrow's stage 14. But just a quick recap. It was a strange day, a flat day through the Po Valley in the Veneto, but marked by maybe every steep climb they could find. And it had a tough find. There was late stage categorized climb that Ineos pressed the pace on. And then it went into a tough final circuit in Vicenza, the Finnish town. It looked like it maybe would have some GC implications, but outside of Isaac del Toro taking in some time bonuses and his teammate Wout van Aert taking a few more, we'll talk about that. It went into a strange mix between a sprint finish and a climber finish. I don't know how to quite explain that, but Mads Pedersen and Wout van Aert go 1-2. Mads Pedersen wins over Van Aert. Super impressive for both of them. Open up a gap on the rest of the field. Isaac del Toro is the only one who can be remotely close. And then the peloton is 5 seconds behind. Del Toro gets 3 seconds of real time plus 4 seconds for the third, 4 seconds time bonus for the third place. So he continues to add to his overall lead. But Johan, first, let's talk about the stage win here. Mads Pedersen over Wout van Aert. This is kind of what we wanted when we saw these two on the start list for this race to get us through this second week before we're in the mountains. I thought this was one of the most exciting finishes of a Grand Tour stage I've seen in quite some time. I guess going all the way back to stage 9 when we had Del Toro with Van Aert. But these are two titans of this type of finish. What was your takeaway here?
Well, as you say, Spencer, nobody really knew if it was going to be too hard for these guys. I've seen a lot of comments to say, yeah, it's going to be too hard. I had some info from within the peloton that both Visma and Pedersen were highly motivated for today's stage. And we saw from the start that both of their teams, together with Q36.5 for Pidcock, those were the 3 teams that did all the work in the stage to keep the breakaway, which was 6-7 guys. It's more difficult to keep under control. So it was clear that they had big plans, right? Then that they believed that their guys could win. I have to say though, when you see the finish, I think the profiles were a bit exaggerated, the ones we looked at yesterday. Yeah. But it was still very hard. And, these two guys, I mean, we all know Pedersen is on extremely, extremely good form. Van Aert seems to get back to really good form. And these two guys, sprinters / punchers, are the two only ones in the peloton who can actually challenge the climbers on a terrain, on a finale like this. And so, yeah, I mean, I think the display of power of Pedersen was incredible. He had to fight hard to stay in contention. He was in trouble at some point when I think the fact of the day in terms of a part of the finish is that Ineos attacked with about 50K to go on that harder climb of the day. Many riders were in trouble, including Van Aert, because of, somebody went out of the corner and Van Aert was held up. And also Pedersen was struggling. We kind of knew they were going to make it back because it was still far to go. But these kind of efforts really take their toll. And the fact that both of them were still up there in the final and are 1-2 speaks volumes about their potential. These are two massive engines, right? Pedersen and Van Aert, and they're more than sprinters. They're really complete riders. And I was happy to see. I would have preferred. I mean, I like Pedersen, but this is his 4th stage win already. Van Aert won a stage, but it would have been amazing for him to win another stage like this. He was close, but he was just beaten fair and square by a guy who was stronger today. But it's nice to see him back up there. You know, he's getting back. It's not the Wout van Aert yet that we are used to see in July, but the way it's going now, I think we will see that guy in July.
Yeah. So Mads Pedersen, he's now seventh up for Grand Tour stage wins amongst active riders, which is impressive because he didn't win a Grand Tour stage until 2022. And then since he's won his first one, he's second. If you take it from 2022 forward, only Pogacar has more stage wins than him. Phillips and Caden Groves oddly tied right behind him at 9-9. You don't really think of it, but Caden Groves has as many Grand Tour stage wins since 2022 as he asked for Phillips. And the only caveat there is Phillipson's are almost all Tour de France stages, and Groves doesn't have a single Tour de France stage because he's never started the Tour. But Wout van Aert 7 since then, so actually more than you'd think, considering that's a struggle period. I too was a little disappointed, if I'm being completely honest. But the thing is, I didn't think Wout van Aert would even factor in this finish. So kind of pleasant surprise. I mean, both of them we were talking about before we recorded. I think they looked like, because it was so hard leading in and because it was a hard finish, everyone else in the front is small. Because they have less weight, but it looked like Pedersen and Van Aert were big kids racing against, like, illegally racing against little kids that they weren't supposed to be competing against. Like, that's how much bigger and more powerful they were. And when they step on it, I mean, they are just pulling away from that field. You see Del Toro is the only one who can put up any sort of resistance. And even Del Toro, like the man of this Giro so far, gets humbled by.
Oh yeah. By power. You could clearly see that there's the power is not there with these guys. You know, they have obviously, power to weight. They're incredible. But if you talk about real power, and we have this stat from Velon, as they usually do a great job in publishing certain data. Wout van Aert's power output for the last 1 minute 20 is 840 watts over a minute 20, and with a maximum of 1110 watts. We can see here on the picture. That's impressive. That's impressive, especially take into account how much he had to work already. He said in an interview that he felt the effort that he had to make to come back after that mishap, after missing that corner with about 50K to go. He said he spent a big bullet there, which he missed in the final. It's not an excuse, because Pedersen was also struggling and had to do a huge effort to come back. But still, I agree. You know, you could clearly see the difference in pure power of these two guys compared to the other riders. I mean, maybe with the exception of Dorian Godon, who's also a tall guy, who was fourth today, who actually won here already on this finish in El Giro del Veneto in 2023. So good climb for him, good finish for him. But all the other riders were GC guys, right? So, and still, there was a lot of doubts about Pedersen and Van Aert, but you see that these talented guys, they're super class. They can do this. And the fact that they were believing it so strongly before the start means that, they knew they could do this.
Yeah. I mean, if you're watching the stage and you're thinking, oh, seems like Philippe Gilbert would be great on this stage, it's because he won the last time they were here against, who did he win against? Johan.
Alberto
Contador. Mm-hmm. Pretty good little finish there for Contador. That's second on a stage like that. But just to circle back on this, 840 watts for the last minute 20 is absurd. Like, I saw this, and in my notes, I even wrote, like, would love to see Pedersen's power file, because that must be crazy. And that is crazy. 840 watts for a minute 20. Like you were saying, we were looking at our own power files before this, trying to put this into context. And you're like, oh, you shouldn't compare yourself to a professional. But in this case, like, professionals shouldn't compare themselves to Van Aert and Pedersen, because there's probably not many pros who can do almost 900 watts for a minute and a half, basically. Yeah. Like, that is unbelievable.
Yeah, that's impressive. Well, I still say, nobody, even riders who have raced and are retired for a number of years, should never compare themselves to the actual professionals in the peloton, unless you are called Alejandro Valverde, because he's still up there. He's still up there in the stats on Strava. But that guy, that guy's special. No, but it's just unbelievable. Normally, Spencer, whatever, I figured it out, like I've done a few rides, and like at my age, for example, it's always double. Whatever there is, if it's a time on a climb or if it's whatever my best, it's always double. That's a good goal. So, if you're 10 years younger, 15 years younger, you can go from there. But me, I'm 60, almost 61. I'm half the speed, and still, that's pretty good for me.
It is actually surprising. Like, even if you take cycling seriously and you go out and you do the Tourmalet, like you'll probably, and you go hard, you'll probably do it in twice the time that like Pogacar would do it, which sounds ridiculous, but that's still a pretty good time. So someone wrote in there asking like, oh, what do Johan and Lance and George do power now compared to when they were racing? And it's, I guess half would be a lot.
Well, no. George is different. George is different. George is still a professional cyclist, Spencer.
Well, there was a point where George owned a professional team, and I think he was probably stronger than many people on that professional team.
Yeah. But no, I mean, these values are impressive, power output. But listen, I mean, 1 and 2 again, Pedersen and Wout van Aert. Same result as stage 1, by the way.
Also, first to where we began.
Yeah. On different terrain now, but and then Del Toro third, as expected. He's the best of the rest. He's the best of the GC guys. I keep saying, Spencer, we're going to have to wait until he explodes, if he explodes. But for the moment, man, if you look at the way he rides, especially the way he's positioned, he was the best positioned of all the GC riders. That's for a reason. It's because he has amazing legs. I don't know if I used the term already, diamond legs. He does have diamond legs in this Giro. It looks easy, looks smooth. I know I repeat myself, but I've said it yesterday, but I repeat, he's a serious contender to win the Giro.
Yeah, so he just to give people he was crazily well positioned today. They were saying on the commentary he has a mountain bike background, which would make sense because he looks easy in that peloton. Easier. There's no disrespect to Juan Ayuso, but the way Del Toro sits and moves about in the peloton, he just looks a lot more relaxed than Juan Ayuso.
And Primoz Roglic, he looks more relaxed than Primoz Roglic.
I don't know if that's saying much. Primoz, but you actually do notice, like, obviously Primoz is amazing, one of the best riders ever to ever do it, stage racing wise. But it's like you learn it late, and you never quite have the same level of comfort as someone that came in at a younger age.
I heard an interview today or I saw an interview of Isaac del Toro when he was 15. He presents himself, I'm Isaac del Toro, very shy. And he was talking already then about how many years he had been racing. So he started really like early, like 11, 12 years old, he was racing already.
He looks like it. I mean, the guy looks unbelievable. Just a couple stats on him. So he had a bad time trial. That's back on stage 10. He hasn't really put, like, let's say, real gaps into people, but he's increased his lead from Ayuso from 25 seconds to 38. It's pretty good considering it's almost all bonus seconds. And then Roglic has gone from 118 to 135. And you think like, well, does 2 seconds really matter? But it's like, well, 118 to 135, that's actually quite a bit different. So he's kind of slowly pulling away from them. But I will say this, and I love the Del Toro experience. Would love to see him win. I was thinking today, and I'm also the power is power man. Like, I think doing power, high power is good, whether you're on a climb or you're on a flat or you're on a hard finish. I was thinking these efforts are very different from the efforts they're going to do in the third week. So being like, wow, he's up there in the sprint. It's like, well, okay, but they're getting, like, it almost feels to me like Primoz Roglic is the only one who's looked at the race book. Like, this third week is quite a bit different than this.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it looks to me like if you look at the footage, right, that Primoz is just looking and For example, today the intermediate sprint, the Red Bull kilometer, he didn't even try. He was there, he was up there, but he didn't even make an intent. It looks like it's deliberate, but it also could be that he just can't. That for the moment he's just forced to follow and try to get better and hope that something. The way I see it now, Spencer. Especially in the case of Del Toro, Primoz needs to have a great last week. He needs to have 2 really great stages, and the Del Toro needs to explode. He needs to blow up, which is very possible. There's hard stages. So, what is it now? 135?
135.
Yeah,
the stages are very hard.
Yeah, it's nothing. If you have a bad moment, 135, you lose it in a heartbeat. On those stages. But he needs to count on the fact that Del Toro will fade and have a hard last week, and that's normally what should happen. But again, I say this guy takes it day by day, and he is extremely strong, and he could hang on to it. I'm a bit in doubt about today because it looked like in the bonus sprint, Del Toro was going for it. And when he saw Ayuso coming, he kind of let him pass. And he keeps saying, even this morning at the start, the leaders of the team are Ayuso and Adam Yates. I think the Adam Yates, he should leave that out because there's no way. Adam Yates is still the leader of the Tour, of the Giro, of UAE. But it is clear that Ayuso is the leader. For example, if you look at the team car and you see the order of the spare bikes, Ayuso's bike is on the place where the leader has his spare bike. That's the easiest accessible for the mechanic.
Which makes sense because Del Toro, 21-year-olds winning Grand Tours, not a great history of that. And the way you're talking about him reminds me a lot of the way people were talking about Simon Yates in 2018. Just so easy in the second week, so easy. And then if you don't remember, he did not win that Giro d'Italia.
But I think to the contrary of Del Toro, we'll see what he does in the last week, right? But I even think at the beginning of the last week, Simon Yates did some attacks when he was in pink, which were completely unnecessary. I think he even, I don't know if he won it, but the stage to Zoncolan, he did a big attack, was out there for a long time, and then, took some time on, who was it? Who did he lose to?
On Zoncolan?
No. Who did he lose the Giro to?
Oh, overall?
Yeah.
Christopher Froome.
Was it Froome?
Yeah, because Froome won on the Zoncolan. He dropped Yates by 6 seconds, and you think, well, it doesn't matter because Froome is 3 minutes back.
Yeah,
but then I watched this I had a plane delay last night, so I was
because
watching
Dumoulin was in the lead when Dumoulin was in the lead. Okay,
yeah, and then cracks formed on stage 19, and then it's stage 18, and then stage 20 at the Finestra, where he blows up. But if you think about, let's just build a logic tree for Primož Roglič. Save your energy because the third week is hard. Isaac del Toro is really strong. He's so strong, in fact, it actually doesn't make sense to contest any of these sprints against him, because if del Toro is this strong the whole race, it doesn't matter. You're not going to pull that back anyway. So you might as well just go all in on the third week strategy and save all the energy you can, because if del Toro doesn't get weaker, it doesn't matter if you get a few time bonuses, because he's just going to hold you off anyway.
Yeah.
I guess I use it. Yeah.
At this point, a guy like Roglič, he has no other option. That's his only chance, and he has done it in the past. He's come back from behind in the last week. For the moment, I have to say, except the time trial, he did a really good time trial, Roglič, of all the GC guys. But other than that, he has not impressed me. He's been good, but he's not been impressive. I've seen out there somebody who gives his opinion on social media and has this theory that Roglic is here to train for the Tour. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Okay?
Well, wouldn't there be much better ways to train for the Tour de France?
I mean, you can listen. You could try to save yourself as much as possible, and then still go full gas in the last week, and then still go for the Tour. But he's not here for training. He's here to win. That's for sure. But yeah, I mean, another thing, Spencer. I don't know if you noticed. There's little details you can see. So obviously Del Toro, great position for the final climb, finishes third. The best of the GC guys, takes time plus bonus. So good day for him, right? Then the other two favorites, Ayuso and Primoz, were both badly positioned, which is already not a good sign, because normally, if you're strong, you should be well positioned. Ayuso just has to stay at the wheel of Del Toro, because he has teammates keeping them in the front. Primoz, maybe not so much, but I could see there's a little improvement in some of the Red Bull guys. I saw Dani Martinez a little bit better. Perizzari was there, Aliotti was there. So there's a slight improvement. So we'll see what it gives in the last week. But both of them were not well positioned. Primoz fights his way up, slaloms through guys, and finishes. What did he finish? Fifth or sixth? Sixth. No,
he finished in sixth, right behind Godin.
Yeah,
so good
sixth.
Recovery.
Yeah, sixth. Ayuso, on the contrary, was positioned two positions in front of Primoz, but instead goes backwards. That's because you're on the limit. It does happen sometimes on climbs, on explosive climbs like this, that you feel okay, and then all of a sudden, you have to give it all, and your legs are blocked. But it's not. Today was not a good sign for Ayuso. Even if he got the bonification, he got 4 seconds, right?
Which maybe he shouldn't have. If he was hurt, but then he got gapped off his own teammate on the final climb. So should he have saved that energy?
I think that that bonus sprint was more a way of positioning. UAE was leading it out anyway, so they were second and third, and so then they just passed their own teammate, but Ayuso passed Del Toro. And
we should note that he had stitches in his knee.
That's one of the things. So he got stitches after the gravel stage. It got a bit better, but then he said that after the time trial, it got a bit worse again. The stitches opened again. It's hard to recover from this, in a Grand Tour, in a stage race, especially on the knee. It's bending all the time, so. It's definitely not an advantage. It needs to heal. Hopefully it doesn't get infected. You never know. Normally you should stay quiet for a week with this, right? But they have to keep pedaling.
Yeah.
So that's obviously having an impact on his performance. It affects everything: your recovery, your sleep. Your body needs to spend energy focusing on recovering that part of your body. So that's obviously energy you can't use for pure recovery. So, that could be one of the reasons why he's a bit on and off in certain stages. But still, he is second in GC, and he remains one of the big favorites.
Well, we didn't even mention the big thing of the day. He got dropped mid-stage when Ineos took the pace up, and he's the one missing out.
I think dropped is a big word. He was not in great position. He was probably on the limit, and then there was a gap, couldn't close the gap, and then had to rely on others. A teammate, I guess, was it Micah who closed the gap?
Yeah, I think so. Have you noticed this? UAE, someone told me it's to hedge their bets, but they ride like not together in the peloton. They ride like scattered around. So it'd be like Del Toro is perfectly positioned, but then they're not all together. So then Ayuso is just on the wrong side of that split. But you think, I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's
hedge their bets in case of crashes.
Yeah, I remember like Omi Opie like took down the whole Visma team. Yeah, so if there's another Omi Opie situation, they don't all go down. But here's my big question for you, Johan, before we move on. Why is Ineos doing these attacks?
Yeah.
Where are they going? I don't fully, it's fun to watch. I don't really get it.
Yeah, well, it was obviously at the request of Bernal. Bernal feels good. He does feel good. He lost time in the time trial and got dropped from Del Toro on the gravel stage after, doing a lot of work, of course. But he does feel good. An attack like this doesn't really bring you anything. You're not going to go anywhere. I don't know. Maybe he thought Ayuso was in trouble, or they see things we don't see. Of course, they're next to each other. They hear them breathe. So I don't know what he was thinking, but it was way too far. He should save himself. I mean, listen, his terrain has to come. It's the last 5 stages. Right?
I'm sure you've ridden in this area. Like when you're not on climbs, it is pancake flat. Mm-hmm. So it's like Ineos would then have to be rotating through and holding off and chasing Ayuso. That seems a little hard to imagine.
No, listen, against this UAE team with Del Toro and Ayuso, if you attack with 50K to go, there's nowhere to go. You're not going to get anywhere. You're going to get reeled in. So it was a bit of it was nice to see. It was chaos in the peloton. There was bodies everywhere, but ultimately everything comes back together. That's a bullet you wasted for nothing,
I wonder if like Mauro Vigny like slipped a 50 in the window of the team car. Like, thanks guys, you made it exciting. People like the course now, and it was exciting. Like, it's funny.
It brings me back. There's it's a very long time ago, but there was like back in the days. I think it was late 80, probably 88 or 89. 89. I was on a small team and we were invited to do the Tour of Switzerland, which was a huge race for us. It was back 10 days then. It was 10 days race. And there was this race director. His name was Sepp Vögli, a Swiss guy, very authoritarian, like big guy. He was in a big Mercedes, open roof, standing up, like waving. And he had this habit of, like the invited teams, they got money to attack. And then when the breakaway went, I'm not kidding. When the breakaway went, and there was sometimes there were situations where the peloton wouldn't make it back. Then he went with the big car in front of the peloton and drafted the peloton. to make it back. So those things have happened in the past.
Just light race fixing, match fixing. When I hear people complain about wildcards not attacking, they're just waiting for that cash payment. It's not that hard. All right, just give them some money. Well, Johan, let's take a quick commercial break. Or quick ad break, and then we'll predict stage 14. Hey everybody, this episode is brought to you by Caldera Lab. Let's be honest, cycling is not great for your skin. Between the cold, the wind, and all the road spray, especially during this rainy spring season, your face takes a beating. Whether you're lining up at the Giro or just putting in the weekend miles, Caldera Lab has your back. Their high-performance skincare is made specifically for men. My favorites, the Clean Slate is a must. It's their pH balance cleanser that uses probiotic ferments and plant-based ingredients to gently clean and exfoliate without drying you out. It's perfect after a grimy day in the saddle. And the eye serum is a key building block for podcasters tired from waking up at 4 a.m. to watch these start-to-finish televised stages. It helps knock back puffiness and dark circles with a smart peptide complex, so you look rested even when you're not, so people don't think I'm the Grim Reaper when I go. For the school pickup, in the base layer is their nutrient-rich moisturizer that absorbs fast, hydrates deep, and leaves a clean, matte finish. No shine, no grease. Every product goes through years of testing and is plastic neutral, meaning everything comes in a nice glass packaging that makes you feel extremely high class while also absolving you of any guilt of shoving the earth first full of more plastic waste. Skincare doesn't have to be complicated, but it should be good. Upgrade your routine with Caldera Lab and see the difference for yourself. Go to calderalab.com/themove and use the move, THEMOVE, at checkout for 15% off your first order. Again, calderalab.com/themove and use code THEMOVE at checkout for 15% off your first order. Hey everybody, this episode is brought to you by Manacora Honey. Are you looking for something simple and delicious to add to your wellness routine? I used to throw regular honey in everything: tea, breakfast bowls, protein shakes, even salad dressings. But then I discovered Manacora, and honestly, it puts all other honeys to shame. It's rich, creamy. It is rich and creamy and has a deep, complex flavor that makes you want to eat it straight off the spoon. The kids love it too. So when we're all up in the morning watching these Giro stages, the first thing we do is take a spoonful of the Manacora honey. And it's a great way to start our day, because what really sets Manacora apart is what's inside. It's packed with powerful nutrients that support immunity and gut health, thanks to the bioactive rich nectar that bees collect from the Manuka tea tree in New Zealand. It even contains a unique antibacterial compound called MGO, and every harvest is third-party tested, so you know exactly what you're getting. This honey has superpowers straight from the tea tree forest of New Zealand. It's ethically produced, wildly delicious, and a real upgrade from your average sweetener. And you're in luck, because it's easier than ever to try Manacora honey. Head to manacora.com/themove to save up to 31% on your order, plus $25 worth of free gifts with the starter kit, which comes with an MGO 850 plus Manacora honey jar, 5 honey travel sticks, a wooden spoon, and a guidebook. I'm going on a trip just tonight, and I'm going to take those honey travel sticks with me. That's manacora.com/themove to save 31% plus your $25 worth of gifts. All right, back to the show. All right, so tomorrow's stage 14, or today, whichever day you're listening to it, starts in Treviso in the Veneto, rips right through Friuli. We have a few climbs at the finish because they're on the border of Slovenia, actually. It starts to get a little bit more mountainous, and then we have a finishing circuit in Nova Gorcia. I don't know how you would say that in Slovenian, but it's kind of a tight technical city circuit. It's a 195-kilometer long stage. And even though we're going to Primož Roglic's homeland, I do not think he'll be contesting this stage. I'll list off the favorites on Unibet and get your take on who's going to win. Olaf Koy, likely sprint stage favorite, plus 175. Caden Groves, plus 375. Mads Pedersen, plus 400. Wout van Aert, plus 1,000. Casper van Uden, plus 1,400. Paul Monnier, plus 2,000. Isaac del Toro, plus 3,300. I don't know if I see that. Matthias Vacek, plus 3,300. Milan Freton, plus 3,300. Sam Bennett, plus 3,300. Ben Turner, plus 4,000. Corbin Strong, plus 6,600. That goes on and on. But how do you think this is going to play out, and who do you think is going to win?
Definitely a bunch sprint, Spencer. Technical circuit at the end, 2 times 13 kilometers. Little climb, Cat 4, but not for these guys. It should not be a problem. I'm going to follow the books and predict Olaf Koy, especially with the confidence of yesterday. A great Wout van Aert to lead him out. Yeah. Great team. They have Affini, who's super strong. Even at plus 175, Olaf Koy for the win for me.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to argue with that. I'm going to go, just because you picked Koy, and I want to swing all the way the other way. So Koy's plus 175. Casper van Uden, I don't really get this, plus 1,400. Like, he was quite good yesterday. He would be my pick. Obviously, I'm conceding that Koy will probably win, but Van Uden at plus 1,400, that's an interesting option. Also, did you know they're the same age? Koy is only 23 years old. Mm-hmm. Like, that is shocking how good how they have these two judges.
I heard an interview of Koy after Van Uden's win, and they know each other very well. They were racing in juniors together already, so they know each other since a very long time.
And we were talking about how, like, really good cyclists actually sometimes they're very, I don't know how to phrase this. They might not be the best at, like, understanding the mentality of the normal rider because they're so good. But Lance Armstrong once told me, he's like, when your countryman starts doing well, you start doing well because you see that guy doing well and you want to be better. And it's like, well, I think if you're not as talented, that actually gets more complicated than that. But I'm going to invoke that logic right here. Van Uden is he saw Koy win, and now they have this rivalry between them. I think actually he could do quite well tomorrow. He's still plus 350 for the podium, which seems like a really good price.
Yeah. Yeah. No, listen, he showed the other day, he won a stage already. Then the other day, he almost got it, did a great sprint, started. I'm not going to say too early. It's difficult to win against Koy. I think he did the right thing. Tomorrow is definitely a stage for him. So, yeah, I like that choice.
When he shows he's not afraid, right? It's like a lot of guys they sprint afraid. It's just like, I'm going to go.
No, he believes in his own power and his own possibilities. Yeah, for sure. For sure. My second choice is going to be Caden Groves, Spencer. I think Caden Groves gets better through a Grand Tour. I was surprised to see him up there today until very, very long. He actually thought he had a chance. Was the lead out was impressive by his team, and especially Planckaert. He did an amazing job. He didn't notice or hear that Caden Groves got gradually dropped, and he was in the lead, I think, until 400 meters to go. But Caden Groves, I'm going to pick him because he has a great lead-out train. Probably with Visma, probably one of the best lead-out trains. And there's some guys on this team who are here only for this. It looks to me like they're missing that last guy with big speed, but still, in this Giro peloton, I think Alpecin is going to bring Caden Groves in a great position, and he has a good chance because he has shown already some incredible speed.
Actually, when you start to think about who has the speed to come around, because a lot of guys have the speed to be there, like Ben Turner, but like who has the speed to come around and win? It probably is Koy, Groves, Van Uden. It's hard to find a fourth one.
Yeah.
I mean, to even look in this list, you'd say Paul Magnier maybe, but what is he really? Has he shown us at this Giro that he has the strength 2.5 weeks in?
That's the thing, it's he's young. He's obviously not fresh anymore, because if you're that young, listen, Koy and Van Uden are young too. But it looks to me like they have more racing in the legs already. But yeah, Paul Magnier, listen, he's fast. Why not?
Well, how would you rate Magnier versus Milan Freton? The only problem with Milan is he's shown us that he can get around anybody at this Giro.
Yeah. Fretin he's been up there. He's had a good season so far. I'd probably go for Milan Fretin over Paul Magnier.
Just even mathematically, too, looking at this list, it's like he's plus 3,300. He's below Vodcek and equal with Bennett, which seems a little incongruent with what we've actually seen on the road. Like, I would rate him one of the top 4 favorites for the stage, but he's buried down the list. So I would pick him just because of that, because of his odds. Okay. And before we go, this is not the only world-class level race happening in Slovenia this weekend, because there is a mountain bike race in Novo Mesto.
World Cup Novo Mesto, yeah. And we will see the reappearance of a certain Mathieu van der Poel, who I've been told is in really good shape. I've seen some little videos. Man, that guy is unbelievable. Technically, it's crazy how you can be one of the best riders in the world on the road and then just jump into mountain biking. And this is a technical course. There's, descent with lots of rocks. The way he flies over those rocks is crazy. That guy can do anything on a bike. So curious to see, he's getting in the middle of the season into the circuit, the mountain bike circuit. We all know, and he has told publicly that his dream is to become world champion mountain bike, which is a big goal of him for the rest of the season. He's going to do the Tour de France as a training camp, I guess.
That's absurd, by the way. It's like, no one else. It bothers me so much that he uses the Tour to train, but
yeah, I mean, no, he's not. I mean, obviously, he's a professional. He's gonna try to win a stage. He's gonna do lead outs for Philipsen as usual. So. But yeah, also in Slovenia, I think tomorrow is the short race, and then on Sunday it's the big race, I guess.
Yeah, on Max in the US, I believe both are on Max. I'm not getting paid by Max to plug that.
Yeah, interesting.
I mean, this whole thing is ridiculous. He's raced only 12 days so far, and then he's already switching to mountain bike. But he's basically won every race except for Flanders that he wanted to win, and I actually don't hate it because Worlds is such a goofy Worlds. He's not going to win. He's not going to even compete at Worlds because it's so climb heavy.
Yeah.
I can't road Worlds. So it kind of makes sense actually that this would be, if you want to go for World Mountain Bike, this is the year to do it.
The problem Mathieu has is obviously that, compared to, he's a road racer, he's paid a lot of money by Alpecin, also by Canyon. For Canyon, obviously, it's great because he's a multidisciplinary rider, so it's great for them. But his team pays him a big contract to race on the road, right? So it's not ideal compared to the real specialists, mountain bikers. But I'm sure he has it figured out of how he's going to get ready for the mountain bike worlds.
Well, like in this week in Root Hooves, that's like one of the impressive things about what they've done with that team is it's not like, well, Van der Poel's not going to be fully focused on the Tour, so we have nothing. It's like they have all these other riders that can contest stages. So it's really impressive what they've done there.
Yeah. Plus they have a full off-road program, both men and women, cyclocross and also mountain bike, because Puck Pieterse is also one of the, I mean, she's actually, she won Liège-Bastogne-Liège. No, she won Liège-Bastogne-Liège. No, she won Flèche Wallonne. Sorry.
Yeah.
Liège-Bastogne-Liège was the girl from Mauritius.
Kim Lecourt, I believe.
Kim Lecourt, yeah. But anyway, Puck Pieterse has been in front in all the big races on the road. Now she's also switching to mountain bike. I saw a video of her. She's really interesting to follow on social media. She does these recons. She films everything, and today she reconned the course together with Mathieu van der Poel. They're on the same team. They're both on Alpecin.
I mean, clearly, to go back to where we started, it helped Del Toro today positioning. So it's not like they're wasting their time. And it's like Puck is probably helped. Like I saw Puck Pietersen doing like 40-second wheelies on climbs on a training ride, like holding it for 40 seconds. So
she is better than, I would say, 80% of the professionals, men on a bike in terms of skills. She's unbelievable,
which does help you. So I guess it's nice that they have both programs. Well, Johan, anything else on stage 14 or the World Cup?
Watch the bunch sprint tomorrow, and let's see what Mathieu van der Poel does on his mountain bike.
Yeah, no, it's actually perfect. They've not done the most exciting weekend at the Giro, but it lets us watch both races before we buckle down next week for the insane third week.
Okay.
Well, thanks, Johan. We'll talk tomorrow.